Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Chilling Wargamers special. But we've got some very good news for you. Mr. Spud Tate, my regular co-host, is having his internet installed tomorrow. So that means we're going to be back to having regular episodes, hopefully every single week at least. So within the next 7 days, hopefully we'll have an episode catching up with all the regular chillers, finding out what everyone's been doing during this unwanted hiatus. I know you've all been getting withdrawal, but I'm trying to ease you through it with these special episodes. So today, of course, I'm Andy 2D6, the Orange Necromancer, and for one night only, my special honorary co-host for the evening, the Mantic Events Manager, Mr. Chris.
Hi guys.
How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm just spiffing.
Our relationship's really come on a bit, hasn't it, since you ran away from me at the Games Expo?
I honestly, I didn't see you. I just happened to be mincing in the opposite direction, in a manly way.
Looking straight at me and then sprinting towards a bus.
And I did not tell the bus driver to step on it at all while I waved goodbye to you.
Well, I'm sure you're going to be contributing greatly to this episode.
I'm sure.
I'm glad to have you here. Now, the man of the hour. We have... Well, he was supposed to be here last time, but unfortunately it was some kind of combination of being in a foreign country with really bad Wi-Fi and being naked. I'm not sure what the major factor was in preventing you from being on, but it was...
Believe me, it wasn't the naked. It wasn't the naked. I need no excuse to get naked and get on a Google Hangout, I can tell you.
Well,
like
so...
a normal Friday and Saturday night.
Finally, we are joined by Mr. Ronnie Renton, the legend himself. How's it going?
Very well, very well. We are hunting down the end date. I think young Mr. Nichols has had the experience of living through his first Kickstarter on the other side of the fence. we are 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 7. Did it just go down? So I think it's went down $100. So that's very rude. But no, other than that, it's a storming performance.
Now, the two of us, we of course go way back, all the way to Adepticon, in fact, when I was able to wow you with my vibrantly coloured Man City t-shirt.
Correct, it was like a combination of both orange and Man City. Which,
looking back with hindsight, going into a foreign country, wearing a really brightly coloured t-shirt that just says Man City on it, with no reference to football anywhere, I'm not sure it was giving off the kind of vibe that I originally had in mind.
Yeah, I think you're probably wearing shorts as well, weren't you? Elasticated shorts. So
I was wearing orange shorts that I've had since I was about 15, I think.
There you go. Then you wondered why the bars were empty when you used to walk into them.
Well then, so you're fully clothed today?
Pretty much, yeah. Well, I've got a top on. I mean, I'm naked from the waist down, as usual in the office, but...
Yeah, but you're not going to be seeing too much of that, I imagine. Unless there's any reason for you to stand up.
No.
If anyone would like to dare him to stand up, then just leave it in the comments. So, you've just come back from almost a world tour, haven't you? You've been around all over the place lately.
Yeah, busy times. Popping out, seeing people, speaking to people. Yeah, very interesting times. And a break as well, which was good. So
international man of mystery that you are.
That's right.
You just got back from Gen Con this week, haven't you?
Yeah, we had a great event over in Gen Con. We were demoing Mars Attacks and backers were picking it up, which was good fun. We had the figures there, and obviously now as well, having been there the last 6 years, there's lots of people we know and we're bumping into and talking, which was really good. Sending people up to the newsletter to find out about all the wonderful things Mantic. So.
Yeah, Mars Attacks is the big thing at the moment, isn't it? The thing that's actually being released.
Correct. I mean, there's two things. I mean, up until Sunday night at midnight for the last month, but on midnight it ends. It's, of course, Dungeon Sagas. But then, of course, what happens is the second it ends, it kind of vanishes. It vanishes off the radar, and we go away and take the money and start tooling and start making. So it kind of vanishes back into the black box that is the studio, and things start to go from there. So on Monday morning, it's going to be, something we kickstarted a year ago, and it's going to be Mars Attacks. It's being demoed recently out in the great wide world at Gen Con. I know Chris has had a lot of his Pathfinders out in stores running demos of it, and so we're really excited about that. I mean, I think it's a breakout product in terms of raising the profile, and I think the job that the studio's done on it is just fantastic. It's very, very high quality sculpts, and I think it's done a service to the license and to the IP. So,
and of course, one of the good things about Mantic is that when the deadline is actually up, the Kickstarter is over, the money is actually going into tooling and all that stuff. It's not just going to get someone a luxury yacht somewhere.
No.
And then maybe they'll send you a few miniatures a few years later if you're lucky.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which and in some cases, if you're lucky. So no, and people know that, and I think they understand that. It started with Dreadball, where we sold 2,000 copies on the Kickstarter. At the end of it, we had 12 teams, 12 booster packs, 3 season books, all in plastic, all being made, all committed to. We were able to just get on without having to worry about could we afford it, what did the cash flows look like. The net result was another 10,000 copies have been sold through independent stores and retailers and at shows over the last 2 years. And can you believe it, but Dreadball isn't yet 2 years old. So it's quite frightening in terms of what we're able to now put out in volume terms, and that's where the money goes.
So I believe Dead Zone was the highest level of funding you've had on any Kickstarter so far, but this one seems to have been really consistent. I've been looking at KickTrack, the website that keeps track of all the Kickstarter stats, and the number of backers per day hasn't really taken a significant dip. Obviously, you get tons on the first day, but this has actually been pretty consistent after that. There hasn't been any backstep.
Probably our most consistent, to be honest, I'd say, in terms of backer number. I mean, we turnover-wise, I think it's just moving into third place. If it's not in third, it will be by tonight. So it's just yesterday it moved past, I think, Extreme, and it goes past Mars Attacks, or the other way around. But they were both 500,000 something. Backer number, we're already past Dreadball. We're already past Dreadball in backer number.
You're nearly at 4,000 now, aren't you?
Yeah, we're 3898. So as I sit here, so 102 away from the 4,000 mark, which is a big milestone. We've only ever passed that once. We really usually have about 2,500, except for now. I think the total average spend, and we said this at the beginning, was going to be lower on this. We expected that. A few people were saying, "Oh, Ron, we want to support you, but our budget is only so much." We understand that, we all do. So we've purposefully, it's not a huge range. We're not doing 12 teams. We're not doing 6 factions. It's a nice dungeon crawler, so it does mean the total cash is slightly less, but the backer number is great, which is what we want to do. Get it out there, get it in people's hands, get them playing with it, getting them looking at Mantic products and realising, we produce a great product at a great value for money price.
Where it is right now, with just 3 or 4 days left, has it gone beyond what you expected it would have done at this point?
Yeah, it's certainly nudging up into the upper end of our expectations. I mean, we had a plan that ran from 350 to 500, and having been there a couple of times before, we know these things are like wild horses. But we're now really getting into the very exciting, and there's some today we have just confirmed some very fun things for the weekend. That if we'd ended here, we'd have been very, very happy. If this was midnight Sunday, I think there's a terrific range of products. I think the Abyssal is just opening up more stories in the Kings of War universe. We're getting some sculpts out there. There's a lovely range. If it ended here, it would have been good. I think now we're getting to the place where it's going to be great. It's going to be great. We've got a whole weekend. We've still got 4 days to go. We've got a few shout-outs. We're going to get really getting people on board. It's only a $100 buy-in. You're getting a heck of a lot for your $100 now, and you're going to get more. And we've got a pretty much massive cannon. Not a cannon, because obviously a cannon wouldn't be appropriate in a dungeon. But we've got a big cannon to fire over this weekend. With if we can just keep going, there's a really exciting stretch goal around the corner. There's two. There's lots of exciting ones, but there's 2 big ones that I think are going to get people really excited.
Okay, so I would implore all the audience to start leaving questions in the comments here while I screen share, hopefully, and we look at some of the stretch goals that have been unlocked. Can you see that okay? That should be working correctly.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So, I believe with the last episode, with Jake, the zombie troll shaman was about to be unlocked. So that's where we left off last time. So since then, got the halfling thief, which was one of the things that came up. That was something that was asked on that episode.
Mm-hmm.
So that was out pretty shortly after. Then a paladin. Now, a lot of these are just in the drawings or concept art, so obviously you wouldn't have been able to just create all these without Kickstarter, if they're not even anywhere close to being done yet. Is that correct? Have we lost Mr. Ronnie?
Have we lost Ronnie?
Oh
Oh no! What am I going to
no.
do? Sorry, what was the question?
Well, oh, here he is. He's back.
That was my moment to shine. It's all gone.
Yeah, Chris was about to step in and fill in for you.
He's in the process of coming back.
Oh no.
No, he's dropped back out again.
Well, would you like to
Well, anyway,
would you like to do a temporary Ronnie impression in his unexpected absance?
absolutely, no
I was
problem.
talking about how these models here, the ones that are just in concept form,
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't be able to get close to producing them just by a release of the game. You do need a Kickstarter because obviously there's some of them that are actually miniatures.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, if you look at the actual number of different sculpts that we've got coming out of this one box set, to actually fund, I think, what are we up to, about 50, 60 different sculpts? It's an awful lot of tooling costs, and for us to actually go to somebody and say, right, we want all these 100 or all these 50 done all in one lot, it's an awful big investment. And the Kickstarter allows us to actually get the funding that we need for the specific models that we want, and obviously working on feedback from the community telling us what they want to see in the actual box set itself. I have to say I love this halfling with the giant sword. I think that's going to be my character when I sit down with my friends and play.
Yeah, there is always something fun about a character that doesn't look like he's physically built to be in the role that he is actually undertaking. Just a halfling with a huge weapon.
Oh yeah,
Fun.
absolutely. And I think I might be very tempted to actually cut off the sword and stick a big axe on it and use him as somebody else. But he's in there. Everybody's going to get him, and that's the beauty of this Kickstarter.
Yeah, that one's a Kickstarter exclusive as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice. There is the cards for the solo and co-op play, which people were asking about.
Huge amount of feedback for getting those in. We're also going to get those in on the actual add-ons that you'll see in just a bit.
Yes, a lot of people wanted them, so they appeared.
Absolutely. We're working on feedback from the community.
Yeah, Druid Shapeshifter.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting looking. It'd be fun to see how that model actually turns out.
Yep. Looking forward to it.
Then there was the first expansion, of course. Which is
the first
Warlord
expansion.
of Galahir, I assume that's pronounced.
Absolutely, and once again, when we released this into the public domain, people just the people just started pledging. Absolutely, they want to have the add-ons. They want these little extras that they can just bolt onto the main game, and introduce new creatures, new bad guys, new rules into the already the simple board game that we've got.
Yeah, what I really like about the add-ons is the fact that when it's unlocked, it doesn't just put more stuff into the add-on, it also puts stuff into the main pledge as well. Mm-hmm. So people, even if they don't want the add-on, they're still going to get something for that becoming unlocked. So I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, everybody's going to get a few of these miniatures added to the main $100 pledge level. And there should be rules for them included in the actual main game.
And then there's the additional goblins there, and stats for the Orc and Goblin from Kings of War.
Yep. And then we go on to the Basilian female cleric, human cleric.
Yeah, there weren't that many females up until that point, were there? There's quite a few now.
There's been a few. There's a
few now, and then there's the additional orcs there.
Ah, Mr. Renton, you're back, sir. And then, yeah, absolutely,
Yes, it is.
this dungeon scenery, it was asked for by the community, and the community gets what the community wants. And I think the feedback from that has been quite positive. Has he gone again?
I think we've lost him again.
Oh no! I'll keep talking, shall I? Let's keep going.
Maybe the screen
We've got
sharing
so
is putting too much strain on it, on his
We're only at
internet connection or
400,000
something.
here. We've got lots more to go. Lots more.
Oh, is he back again? Or is it going to be temporary? Well, we're at 74 live viewers, so no pressure, technology.
Okay, let's keep going. We're on 400,000. We've got a way to go yet.
Yes, everyone wanted
So-
this dungeon furniture, didn't they? That was a huge request.
hmm
Then, of course, we pushed on even more orcs. Different
Yeah, even
orcs this time as well.
archers included into the box set, and then, as if that wasn't enough, we've got a troll. Oh, not just one troll. Mantic
Yes.
being Mantic, we can't just go for one. There's 3 trolls there.
And
We've
it's
got.
not a zombie troll this time. This is just a troll pre-zombification.
Yep, it certainly is. You got one troll added to the main $100 pledge level, and you've got 2 trolls added to the add-on. So those $25 add-ons start to rack up the number of miniatures that you get for your $25.
I wonder if there are going to be any different kinds of trolls. We've got zombie troll, we've got regular troll, maybe space troll. Little astronaut's helmet on.
I'm not sure the dungeon crawler is the right place for a space troll. Maybe I don't
You
think
say that, but if you just pitch it to the design team, you never know. I'll let you take the credit for it.
Oh, thank you. So we keep going. We got the Warlord at 445, massive hulking orc with a big axe. No add-on for orcs would be complete without this guy.
Certainly not.
Mr. Renton, are you there?
Is he there this time?
And then one of my personal favourites when we started talking about what we could add to the actual Kickstarter, something a little bit from left field, something people aren't really used to seeing or expecting in a dungeon crawler. We looked at our Forces of Nature list, and this guy just jumped out at us, the salamander with the fiery sword. So I'm really looking forward to the rules that come up with that, and I'm really looking forward to playing that creature.
Yeah, there's quite a few races here that aren't currently in Kings of War, for example. So it'd be interesting to see if they pop up in the future.
Well, I mean, yeah, they are there. They're there in background. We've got rules for them in the Kings of War rulebook and the expansions. But this has actually given us the opportunity to give you guys sort of like a sneak peek of what we think they should be like.
Yeah, rather than having to create a full model range, here's just a little taste of this race.
And then we had the Demon Hunter come in, and I think this was a lovely little precursor to the next stretch goal. Which
Is that a female?
Yes, I believe that is a female.
Kind of woman, isn't she?
Yeah, I think that's a female Demon Hunter.
And this is where it gets really juicy, isn't it?
Or you stare into the abyss, and the abyss stares back. There we have the add-on with the abyssals. It's going to be absolutely epic. I cannot wait to get those miniatures out and start playing with them. And is Ronnie back? No. He's obviously absolutely happy with what I'm saying, so I'll just keep talking.
Maybe when we get to the end of the screen sharing, it'll let him back in, because it did seem to coincide with his disappearance.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll
so
see.
here we are up to 500,000. This was such a huge landmark piece. And obviously added another expansion, same as before with the Orc expansion, comes out with a few miniatures to begin with, but then as you see the stretch goals come out, we start to really fill out those expansions. They allow us to actually put more miniatures, put more costs into tooling, and put more money behind to get these rules vamped up for them. So if you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, there's AI decks for those as well included, or is these are just the so the AI decks, the AI comes later.
Up there, more abyssal stuff, including succubi.
Yep.
Can't go wrong there, can you?
Yep, absolutely, and the concept art for those is brilliant.
And then, not quite so pleasing on the eye, but equally disturbing.
Tortured souls.
They
So
do
beginning
look
to see,
tortured, don't they?
beginning to see things that aren't actually in the Abyssal's army list for Kings of War in the Basilian expansion. These are things that aren't actually in there, and a bit from left field for people. And now, after that $545,000 stretch goal, we have Molochs. Now, let's have a look at where we are with the Kickstarter at the moment. We are just shy of adding the Molochs in. As you can see, there's 3 of them there. With the past several stretch goals, there's been 3 on the picture, so there's going to be 2 put into the add-on pack, 1 added to the core set for the $100 pledge level.
Look quite nasty, don't they?
They do, and I've seen the sculpts, and they look nasty. They look brilliant.
Are they troll-sized, or are they more orc-sized?
They're massive. They are more troll-sized, so these guys are big. They're going to be on the bigger bases.
Lovely.
So lots of big creatures. Now these are the add-ons. Obviously, you can start with your $100 pledge level, and then you start to add to your pledge level to get these wonderful add-ons there. We got a lovely resin bone set with the wound counters, some fantastic dice to go with it.
So which ones of these were recently added? I don't remember seeing all of these last time.
Oh yeah.
Right. So new are they? These Dwarf Kings hold miniature booster packs.
Yeah, so we've got quite a few miniature booster packs, and these represent amazing value as well for exactly what you're getting in them. And those will allow people that want to, maybe make up some rules or add a few more bad guys in different poses to just add $20 to your pledge level. You get a whole heaping load of elves, a whole heaping load of orcs there. Same goes with dwarfs and undead. We also got a resin base set as well. I think you skipped past. So
there
if you want to, there we go. There it is, $8 add-on. So you take the existing Kings of War miniatures, clip them off the base, stick them onto those bases, add them to your set.
Lovely. Yeah, so quite a few in there as well. 10, the smaller ones, and 3 large ones.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got some werewolves or something you want to put on the bases, there you go.
Exactly. And the rules for these are actually all going to be put into the books as well, so you can actually use your Kings of War miniatures into the game. So hopefully we'll get some dungeon designer rules added to the pack.
Right then, and then further up, there's more of these add-ons.
The Goblin one, $30. If you actually go to the website now and add up the actual cost of those miniatures, comes to an awful lot more than $30. So that represents absolutely fantastic value for money. I'm looking forward to seeing rules for a Mincer in the dungeon. That's quite a big miniature.
Yeah, that seems like something you would see in a film, isn't it? A very tight corridor and one of those coming down at you.
As soon as my friends saw it, they said, well, I want one of those. It's going to be exactly like the scene from the Labyrinth with the little goblins on the back by the oubliette. Oh, God, I know far too much about that movie. And we got a Goblin War Trombone in there. I think that's going to be quite a scary piece for bands of heroes down in the dungeons.
I imagine that would get quite loud in the echoey atmosphere of a dungeon.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then more trolls! More trolls! Troll in the dungeon.
And of course, with this, you'll get different poses as well, because I imagine the ones that for the actual game will be the same pose.
Yeah, well, they're going to be pre-built as well in coloured plastic.
So with these ones, you could add variety to your trolls.
Yeah, absolutely. You buy the resin pack. It gives you the 3 bases that you'd want to stick those 3 trolls on.
Lovely.
I see a fantastic little undead set there as well.
Yes.
With werewolves and wraiths and mummies and ghouls. Oh my!
Can't get enough undead.
Okay.
Then,
Mr.
of course,
Renton
more orcs.
is trying to get back. No, he's gone again. It might be the. Tell you what? Shall I pop off and see whether or not you can get Mr. Renton back on?
Well, what I'll do is, I think we've pretty much covered everything I wanted to look at on here.
Just very, very quickly, while you're on there, if you can scroll back down to the top of the add-ons, you've got there pictures of the actual the two bolt-on.
I've got a link actually.
Hello, Mr. Renton. We can hear you now.
We heard him for a couple of seconds, but I think he's gone again.
It froze, and then he went away. Oh, I dwell in
But
darkness.
you did hear his
him, and he went
voice. So
away.
anyone who's just joining us, we've got evidence that he is actually here because you heard his voice.
Absolutely.
He's here in spirit.
And there you go. There's the pictures of the add-ons there. The two we've currently got. Who knows where the stretch goals will lead us this weekend with the amount of time that we've got left and the amount of interest. You never know what might be around the corner, guys.
You never know. So at this point, we'll just have a quick look down here. Look at that Dungeon Master Pledge. That is a ton of stuff. Way more than there was originally, including all these exclusives as well. So that's 4 exclusive
we've got
miniatures, at least.
Blaine's making another appearance. He's made an appearance in most of our Kickstarters at the moment. And Blaine, I think, is going to be the first one that can go either way, be a good guy or a bad guy. But the concept art for that is absolutely fantastic. And we've got the Tavern guy.
So at this point, I'm going to end the screen share, just in case that was putting any unnecessary strain on Mr. Ronnie's connection for the next time he makes one of his brief appearances. So,
will be just to say, Chris, your P45's in the post.
It has been crashing through stretch goals at quite a rapid pace, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, let's see where we are at the moment. We are just over $1,050 until we get the Mollocks in. So who knows? Maybe by the end of this interview, we'll be getting another shout out of another update of what's going to be going on next.
Quite possibly.
Those Mollocks are seriously big creatures. They look really impressive.
Now, there's a question that you might know the answer to. If you don't, then we'll save it for now. The expansions that come with the game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know whether it'll all be shipped out to the backers as one item, or will the expansions be coming later on?
In waves? I don't know the answer to that, I'm afraid.
But it is generally a wave system.
I do not know the answer to that. But at the present moment in time, obviously, at this moment in time, we haven't actually got all of the miniatures. What we would be doing is taking the funds from the Kickstarter and arranging what it is that we need to do. I haven't been on a Kickstarter at that point before. I think Ronnie did mention that this is my very first time through the Looking Glass, and it's been an absolutely mad ride.
It's been a bit of a roller coaster ride of emotion.
It has. It really, really has. Because you sit there as a backer, and everything's great. You get your updates, and you get your email messages, links that come through, and you're kept well informed all the way through the process. But to see it from the other side, the amount of work that the guys up at Mantic HQ are doing, and burning the candle at both ends, listening to the comments, getting feedback from you guys, and then sitting around the table and thrashing through things, trying to see what can they fit. Things that they may have gotten planned, thrown out the window because feedback from the community is they want this. So it's just been an absolute roller coaster of a ride.
Yeah,
and it ain't over yet.
So obviously you've been keeping your finger on the pulse of the community. What changes, any specific ones that have actually been made to the overall project as a result of the popular demand of the people?
Well, when I was in my limited conversations with the people, the masterminds behind this, Chris Palmer and Stuart and Ronnie Renton himself, there was no mention to me at that time about the furniture, for instance. So when I was sat here monitoring comments and this, that, and the other, and I got an update saying we're going to be doing the furniture, I thought, that's absolutely fantastic. That came out of nowhere for me personally. So obviously they've managed to come up with that on the cusp, on the fly, pull something together, and they've made arrangements for it. So that's brilliant. That's one example of something that it's community feedback that they've listened to and gone ahead with.
So, while we're still waiting around to see if Mr. Ronnie's going to come back.
Oh, Ronnie, where are you?
Yes, rather than me putting all the audience questions to kind of the C-list version of Ronnie.
The C-list? I'm not even a B-list. That's harsh, man. You wound me. That hurt here and here.
I do believe you wanted to talk a little bit to the audience about a couple of things, didn't you, at some point?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you'd like to take the time to do that now, I'll see if we can get Ronnie back in.
Okay, well, I'm going to first of all start talking about what's happening this weekend, and what's happening this weekend at Tabletop Nation, what's happening this weekend at Games and Gear. On Saturday, we've got 2 Pathfinders, one going to Games and Gears, one to Tabletop Nation with a copy of Mars Attacks. If you're in the area, please come on down, introduce yourself to the Pathfinder, get yourself a game of Mars Attacks, see how it goes, plays, and give us some feedback on it. Moving on from that, on the 20th of September, we've got a lovely little event that we're going to in Newport, down in Wales, very close to my old stomping grounds. It's called Dragon Days. That's in support of a charity, so have a look at that, get online, Google, have a look for Dragon Days. We will, of course, have a copy of Mars Attacks there. We'll be doing Dreadball, we'll be doing Dead Zone, we'll have some crazy show offers available there. Moving on from that, let me have a look at my screen. We are going to be having the Kings of War final at the HQ, which is happening on the 11th and 12th of October. And that's going to be absolutely epic. The tickets are limited to 26 at the moment, I think. Here comes Mr. Renton.
Hopefully.
Also want to talk to you about Pathfinder recruitment. We are looking for Pathfinders at the moment. If you're interested in joining the Pathfinder program, which is a group of dedicated volunteers that go into local events, local clubs, they show people the games. They're a great point of contact for us as well. Get in touch with me. My email is eventschris@manticgames.com. I'd like to hear from you. And yeah, is he back?
Is that working?
Yeah, it's working.
Yes.
Huzzah!
Did you just restart some piece of technology?
He is
Can you hear
here.
us?
Ronnie.
Uh-oh.
Okay, while he's still doing that, I will continue talking. I'm looking for... No, he's back.
Oh, yes? Are we back for real this time?
I'm also looking for people to get in contact with me about local events and local shows in the area that you think that maybe we should have a presence to, or if you'd like us to see if we can get Pathfinder down to and run a couple of demos and see how we can help and support you. He's back. No, he's gone. He's gone.
So close.
Yet so far.
He was within arm's reach.
Okay,
well, that was an improvement on last time.
So we've talked about the Pathfinder program and what we do.
Yes.
We've talked about some upcoming events and shows that we are looking forward to. I haven't mentioned Essen, which we're going to be going to. We're going to have a presence at Fiasco. We're going to have a presence all over the place. So get in touch. I look forward to hearing from you.
Are we finally back for real?
Yes, we've downloaded it on one of our Macs and that didn't work, and now I've shut everything down on my phone, and so hopefully we'll have a little bit more success. Apologies for
Right.
that.
Well,
Lovely.
I will shut up and I will allow the
One
A-list
package
person.
is the answer to your earlier question where Chris was floundering. We're hoping to ship this all as one. Because
Lovely.
there should be enough time with the tooling. Generally, when we're doing kind of teams and factions, you need to tool a few and play a few and test it, and you want to do it in waves. But because I think the expansions are going to be pretty straightforward in terms of the rules, we can get sculpting them straight away, and we can get writing them straight away. So hopefully this will all ship as one package.
Okay, we are now $16 over the next stretch limit, by the way.
Oh wow, are we?
Ooh, it looks like somebody needs to get on there and update that ASAP.
Show us the update,
$51
Mr. Palmer.
actually. $5.70, Mr. Palmer. Hey, play the update song. Play the update song.
Where is the
Will
update?
do. He loves the update song, by the way. If any of you ever see Chris Palmer, just have the update song. I don't know if we can find a link to it, but we'll stick it down in the comments below. Just play that to him and watch him turn into something that it doesn't resemble a human being anymore.
Okay, so we just went through and looked at all the various stretch goals that have been unlocked since the last episode. And there's some pretty juicy stuff on there, isn't there?
There is, isn't there? And there's sorry?
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and I think it's lovely that we've been able to keep putting things into the core base pledge while at the same time unlocking a couple of the expansions. I thought that was a really clever move. Chris came up with that one, which was, even though, okay, you can't per se use those orcs and goblins, you're funding this Kickstarter, so you're getting some, but if you buy the expansion, you're going to get a whole lot more. And, it's nice that we continue to keep adding to the core pledges as far as finances and economics allow us, and that people can participate. I think it's getting pretty close to full. I think if you look at that stretch, if you look at that graphic there with what's in it, $100, it looks pretty fantastically full of very juicy stuff at the moment. I like the furniture. A couple more to come, we reckon. A couple more biggies to come. Yeah, very exciting.
Right then, so going to go through a few audience questions now before we get to my vast array of questions. So here's one from. There's always someone with a name I can't pronounce first, isn't there? It looks like Christoph Babylon. He wants to know, since the dungeon generator is confirmed on Kickstarter's dashboard, can you tell us more about it and how it would be implemented and how it works in general?
So tell me again, the dungeon generator.
Yes.
I've not used the word generator anywhere, so you're going to have to help me a little bit find out what's being spoken about.
Well, he'll have to explain himself a bit more, I think.
Okay.
He also wants to know, will the AI deck work only with the units from the expansions, or also other units from the undead and the orcs and goblin range?
I mean, that one's a bit more straightforward. And the answer to that is it's not written yet. I mean, it will for sure work with what you're going to get in the game. And I think it's worth bearing in mind, and I think this is going to come out actually as a next stretch goal. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about this. The game, the Dwarf King's Quest part, it's going to be a very straightforward pick up and play prescriptive game. What that means, we know what you've got at each point in time, and therefore we can be quite certain that as far as possible we can balance the forces and we can make it a fair game. Which is slightly different than a normal dungeon crawler, a role-play dungeon, whereby the DM sets his own dungeon and then uses his own discretion to make sure that everybody enjoys themselves, or certainly he does. So in the base game, it's going to be balanced forces, if you like. When you get into the dungeon, and this might be the dungeon generator, but when you're getting into generate your own dungeons, the DM's going to have to generate it, if you like. He's going to have to take the role of kind of the dungeon master to some extent if you're going to start creating your own dungeons, your own characters, and playing that tabletop role-playing angle. So therefore we know that the AI will for sure work with the contents of the games and the expansions as they come, 100%. It's going to be designed for that. In other words, you bought this set, you've got the AI, you're going to be able to play with the contents. We will try and extend it so that you can kind of create your own dungeons and the cards are useful enough that you can keep playing with them. But I think we have to be careful that could be a stretch too far, because then you're talking about generating dungeons, them being entirely random, the AI working a certain way. If it can be done, we'll do it, but I don't think we can guarantee it at this stage until we've had some more time playing with the contents and building up that adventurous companion book.
Okay, there's a question from Paul Bannon who wants to know, with the models being introduced into Dungeon Saga for the forces of the Abyss, such as the Succubi and the Tortured Souls, will these models be introduced into Kings of War, as currently they are not in the army list?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think one of the things that's been really exciting about this Kickstarter, outside of the dungeon aspects of it, is the Kings of War world, where we've brought some of the characters up, some of the kings, and we've actually pushed that on. And there's going to be quite a bit of that in the book and the narrative. So it delves into another area and fills out, Jiffith in that area. But it's also allowed us to start opening a little door, a little window into the Abyss, and the nature, forces, because you've got the salamander there and some of those things. So those that aren't in the Kings of War rulebook, yes, they most certainly will be units that will be being added, or heroes that will be being added. You've also seen some of the first ideas we've had about some of the units that are coming, and I think the big explosive exciting thing that might happen this weekend will also be an addition to the Kings of War universe, and it will get added, as long as it gets funded, to the Kings of War Undead range. Ooh, that was a leak.
Okay.
Ronnie.
You heard it here first, folks.
So,
First piece of privileged information.
Yeah, should be good. Should be exciting. We literally just finalising it up today. We've got it off to the concept artist to work on something. So we're jolly excited about that.
Okay, there's a question from Torkel Burley, who says, in what way will Dungeon Saga Advanced Rules appeal to RPG players?
Well, a whole heap. I mean, I think there's an update that's just gone or just going. Just gone. There we go. I've been shouted through the room. But what's going to happen is we're going to because of the way we funded and because we're hitting such a high number, we are going to get to be able to do that adventurous companion. Now, if we hadn't funded quite so well, I think this would have been a small booklet or small book in the base game. What it's now going to be able to be is a full 150-page tabletop role-playing game system, which will take your tiles that you've got with Dungeon Saga, or heck, even your Dwarvenite tiles from Dwarven Forge or something, take your model ranges and start allowing you to create tabletop role-play games. And I think the distinction there is this is not competing with D&D in any way, because D&D principally is about the character that you have, and the soldiers in the middle are kind of in what order are you, or which room are you in, and the kind of markers about where you are. Now, because ours are toy soldiers, it's principally about the soldier that's on the tabletop is what's happening, and the stats that are held off it is just for reference. But I think it's going to allow a lot of people to have a whole load of fun with corridors, character classes, different races and species coming at each other and creating a really, really big, exciting product, which you may not even need Dungeon Sagas to play. I mean, it might be even that generic.
Right then.
So I think I think that's going to be some of the funding over the next day or two. Is padding out this book into a really meaty, enjoyable tabletop roleplay system.
Okay then, the next comment. Now, this is something that came up last time, but since you weren't here, we were told to save it for you. So, Jazz Frezzy says, where is the bard hero? With a wink.
Bards, yes, I'm going to hit you with my ukulele. It's bards.
Do you have some kind of problem with bards?
I kind of do, yeah. I mean, I'm going to try not to swear here, but what is a bard doing down in a dungeon? Oh, there is a big dragon. It's going to eat me. La 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 la. It's a bit, it's a bit Monty Python-esque, isn't it? It's
Were you poked in the eye with a flute as a child, perhaps?
Clearly, yeah, yes. I think I'm trying to show my disdain for all things bardish. I think my comments on a bard are just not principle for
So we know where that's come from then. People know your disdain for bards, so they're just going to keep asking about it forever.
Exactly, that's it now. Until I crack, be like, all right, God damn it, have a bard then. So fine, let's see what happens.
Okay, there's some people asking about the abyssal models and how soon we're going to be seeing that kind of thing in Kings of War, a full abyssal range.
Yeah, well, obviously, I mean, I spoke about this with the community earlier in the year, which was we're coming around to looking at Kings of War again. We thought we were going to do it in the middle of the summer, just a short kind of mini kick where we could fund either just the abyssals. And then the book needs a bit of a freshen up. The army lists are getting a little bit out of date, so we start looking at battle book. So Kings of War is coming up fast. I think this has opened the door. It's allowed us to look at it again. We'll probably go sci-fi next, and then I wouldn't be at all surprised if Kings of War wasn't a future Kickstarter with a full rule book, all the armies updated, and I think people are getting very excited about not just the Abyssals but also the Nature Army. And all of a sudden, I think we're really creating an exciting IP there with whole new, races being brought to the fore. So you've got your old classics, the elves, the dwarves, the humans, but also new armies that are exclusive to Mantica.
On that topic, Kings of War, Nick Williams asks, what are the chances of bringing Kings of War 2nd edition forward?
Highly likely, Nick. So I think it's certainly going to be talked about, and it's not going to be ruled out. Carte blanche, I think. I think there's an appetite for it. We were just having a fantastic time with it at Gen Con. A guy called Mike Carter just ran 40 games, and everything sold out. And I think while there is a desire for everybody to kind of do skirmish games and quick pickup games, deep down there's a blinking big audience out there that wants an easy-to-play, enjoyable war game. Which has got hundreds of miniatures. You're playing it in 3 hours. Kings of War does that. There is no other, certainly, fantasy war game out there that is as quick and as fluid as that game system. So, we've got to keep supporting it, keep backing it. And at some point, I've even more exciting things with where that license could go, where that gaming system could go. But right now, I think we're very excited by it. There's a massive global community, and we're going to keep supporting it. And maybe it is time to go straight to 2.0 rather than 1.5.
Another question from Nick Williams. He wants to know, when can he play against you on your new secret weapon board?
Whenever he wants. He can come down. No, that's ridiculous, actually, because he will turn up before. I'll be at home tonight, and he'll be there knocking at the window, won't he? So, he's got his request in. I've not quite finished painting it all yet. So, sometime soon, Nick. Tell him sometime soon.
Right then. Let's see what else we've got here. Dave Landries wants to know, does this mean Orklings are going to get their own sprue release?
It'd be good, wouldn't it? I mean, generally we dot them around on the other things, use up little bits of space on the sprue. But as they keep emerging into the universe, then you never know. I haven't got set plans for it, but I think they're great fun and quite popular.
Okay, there's one here from the legendary Terrain Tutor. He wants to know, if people pledge $1 now, will they be able to upgrade to Dungeon Master status after the Kickstarter closes?
Yeah, we always do that. There is always a few people who have PayPal funds that are hidden from their wife, and they can't put large credit card transactions through, or husband, or vice versa, whatever. So, there is an ability. The best thing to do is stick $1 on now. Then you get the updates. You're an official backer, and then when the survey comes out, you can add on to it. And we always leave a good month or two for the survey to be open, so that you can juggle your finances and top up and shuffle around. Because we still recognise that $100 or $150, £100 is a good month's worth of, or a couple of months worth of hobby money. So
that's a good idea. People who People who don't necessarily have the funds right now, but they still want to back, and they're kind of on the fence about it.
Yeah, jump in, stick $1 behind it, or even stick, 25. It doesn't matter if you want to put, I've got 30 quid. Stick it in, and then you can just pay the balance up later, and you can pick it up later. It's the system's very easy. It gives you a credit for what you've got, and then you pick what you want, and it'll just tell you what the difference is. So yeah, we're very flexible there. But I would recommend get in and stick $1 in. It's easier done that way because you're going to get all the updates. Whereas if you just come in afterwards, there's no way we can add you to the letters, to the update list. You have to go and find them yourself.
Okay, there's a question here from K Dilly1, who wants to know. I'm going to read this exactly as written. Any plans on future other race undead? Love the dwarf revs and troll zombies. Maybe elf zombies, troll skeletons.
Okay, yeah. At this point in this Kickstarter, there isn't. I mean, I think we've run through the the undead dwarves, and they're very characterful because of where the setting of the dungeon is, and it's a dwarf king's hold. And some of the zombie trolls, which were really fun, and of course, zombie trolls are going to end up back in Kings of War as a unit. I'm really excited to see that happen. What However, the popularity of those things has certainly opened up that in future it might be good fun to go and look at other things we could do with our undead. Perhaps even just look at where the join points are and put together some mashup kits where people can go and take some elf plastics and some undead plastics and some metal extra bits that we put together and build your own units. But at this point in the Kickstarter there isn't, but never say never. You always know good fun things can happen. Probably more likely in a Kings of War Kickstarter where people would want a unit of it, let's say.
Oh, there's one topic that a lot of people have brought up, and it seems to have been all over the Kickstarter comments as well. Doors.
Doors.
What's the latest on the doors?
The latest is, I think the doors are going to be this weekend. I think it's one of our big two funding goals. I think we'd love to do them. There's been a lot of chatter about them. There is a very heated debate between card, clips, tiles, not clips. But one of the things that we kind of looked at today, we've gone and finalised up because clearly there is a lot of excitement. We thought it was going to be clips. It isn't. It's doors, and so we've investigated doors, and I think that could well be one of the future stretch goals.
Lovely, because I think that's the number one request that I've seen when I've been scanning through the Kickstarter comments. So everyone.
Now we've heard it, and I think it is now. Like I said, we're in that fun space, that fun zone. And the more backers that are now coming on board, I think it will be. There's a real chance that we're going to be able to get that added in. $100 is probably the thing. We'll close the door on the $100 pledge with the doors. So it's certainly one of the kind of final big add-ins, because obviously it's you need half a dozen of them to be stuck into your box. So it's a big addition to chuck them in.
Another thing that's come up a lot, and on the comments here, Dave Simon has asked it. He wants to know if there's going to be any large beasties, such as dragons, on the huge bases. Or is that just something that's going to be too big for a dungeon crawling adventure?
Yeah, and then that's where the trade-off. I mean, I think if we fund big, that could be a Sunday afternoon crazy $100,000 stretch. If we did it, you'd put in a big room so that there's kind of the adventurers can get around, because they're going to be pretty tough. These things, they have to be big, but they can't be so big that it's unfeasible. But Sauron, not Sauron. Smaug is a pretty big fella, isn't he? So I think that would be another expansion, and I think it only comes if we are starting to look at six figures or something crazy like that. It's not what this Kickstarter's about. That's principally about the figures and the adventurers and the heroes. But you just never know what's going to happen in this last weekend. And if a couple of thousand more backers come in, they're going to want toys. And so maybe that could be another expansion that we could look at. But it's not core, but it would be very exciting if it got there, and it's something we could do.
Well, I've got a great idea for you.
Okay,
get this. This could destroy my reputation utterly if it's terrible. But get this: a skeletal worm that's really long, and it comes in separate pieces with some corner pieces as well, so you can maneuver it round the dungeon.
I like that. Well, okay. I'm not going to reveal any secrets, but let's just say that could well end up being added to a concept sketch somewhere. Let's just say that. Let's just say that you might get a vote on that one.
Not bad at all.
I'll pass that on to
If that gets in there, I'm taking full credit for it.
Okay.
It's been broadcast to 76 people right now.
There we go. Hi, everybody.
Okay, so run through the audience questions, and I'm just going to go through a few that I had planned now.
Splendid, super.
I'm a legitimate wargaming journalist,
There we go, and then I'm going to go and get a KFC, because Kickstarters are all about the good living.
Kickstarter fried chicken, of course.
Oh, yes.
So, one thing I was asking Mr. Chris here, you may have more information on it. Have there been a lot of things that have changed because of the feedback from the community in the behind the scenes, rules-wise or range-wise? Once you launched the campaign, people were demanding things, and then you went out of your way and created them because of the demand.
Yeah, I think the two things that things have certainly been added. I think that's true. I think a lot of things are refined. Quite often we say, well, look, we think people are going to want A, but we don't know whether they want this flavour or that flavour of it. You know, I think there's a little bit there where we'd say, well, and we can ask. And I'm just trying to think of an example I heard earlier. Oh, so you know, there was chatter about clips and doors, and we thought everyone would want clips, and categorically everybody wanted doors. So you go, okay, well, you know, it's a hard plastic tool. If we can, you know, can we do both? What would that cost? Well, put it this way: doors are going to come before clips, because categorically people wanted the doors. The clips, they were like, yeah, I can live without. So I think things get refined. I think the order gets changed. Things that were further down come forward. Things that were higher up go further back. And for sure, other things do get added. So I think it's quite good fun. It's a little less manic than, say, Dreadball was in terms of, you know, I was running that and, you know, I'd wake up in the morning and say, right, what should we do today? You know, we've got a couple of concept sketches. You know, the guys are a lot more organised. They know what they need to do. We've got to think about what the retail range wants to be. And that doesn't necessarily mean that's what you have to get at Kickstarter. You'd want more or different. But, you know, the lads are a lot more professional than I ever was when I was running it. So I think, is it better? Does the audience have it? Absolutely. This is a Mantic Kickstarter. We listen, we read every comment, and we respond to it. But have we had wholesale changes? No, not many. No, not many. But we've definitely got a better Kickstarter because of the feedback. And there's a selection of products that are on there because of what we've heard and read.
Yeah, there's one thing a lot of people have been asking about. I'm not sure it really fits in, but is there anything on dungeon critters, like rats and spiders and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, we had a good debate about that one today, because part of us says, you know, it's kind of expected that you have those things. The other half of us say it's right up there with bards. You know, what? Rats? Yeah, behave. It may. I think it's one of those things. It could be good fun. We've got things that we want to do that we think are important to do. We've got things that we want to say thank you with, and I think the big undead monster type thing is going to be one of those. It's a big thank you. You know, here we are, kind of maybe not signing off, but certainly it'd be a big stretch if we do it. It's going to be awesome. And then I think if you get past that, there's half a dozen things on our list that's just great fun, and it would be cool if we could. But if we don't, there's no point hanging it out there and people getting upset about it. Perhaps funded post-Kickstarter for one or two of those things. And I think those fit into that category where, yeah, if they happen, it's great, but actually having a full tool of orcs and green skins that give you a complete expansion and 6 new scenarios to play through with your heroes is a far more critical product than bumping into a bat, a rat, a spider, and a, you know.
But if there's enough demand, would you at least consider a bat with a ukulele?
If there was, I think we're talking kind of, you know, the $2 to $3 million range there before that's going to be.
Well, it said it now.
There you go. There's it is. I've always said with Kickstarter, put it out there and see what happens. So, you want your bats with a ukulele in a, you know, and with it on a dungeon toilet in the toilet furniture
wearing
section.
a nice little tunic.
Yeah, all there is all doable. Just we're going to be well into the 2 million funding level for that.
On the last episode, there were some quite loud calls for the naked zombie Ronnie model. Any progress on that front?
Just ask. I mean, you know, every meeting starts with, you know, do you want me to get naked? You can give me some sculpting, and every time it's like, just this is just interesting. Yeah.
Well, another thing people have been asking about: double-sided tiles. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, I think more likely another tile set, and there's a very good reason why you don't do them double-sided. And I think it's because I mean I've seen some sets that do it, and you have to put a big number on one side so you know which side you're on, or make them very distinctive and something. If you make them very distinctive, they're not interchangeable, and if they're not interchangeable, why do them two-sided? Kind of thing. Anyway, Jake came up with a really clever reason and explained it to me. But at the moment, I think the current plan is they're going to be one-sided. Some of the big rooms might be double-sided, but I'll double-check. But also, if they're double-sided, can you put cards on it? You can. But, all right, fair point. I will have a dig into it. Assume they're single-sided. I for sure know we've got another set of tiles perhaps being planned. I'll ask whether or not they can be double-sided.
Now, deadly serious question now.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, a lot of the best board games of the past came with a VHS tape. Is there any chance of an unlock for that?
You don't actually mean VHS, do you? You probably mean some downloadable cool thing these days.
Nope. If you want to capture that old school feel, you have to go VHS.
Oh, of course, this is this, what was it called? Atmosphere.
Atmosphere.
Blind Blessed! Yes!
Yes!
Voiceover Blind Blessed! Make it so! No. But however, I really, there's two things I want to do. Well, one of the things I really, really want to do is I want to get a How to Play DVD in one of these box games one day. Where you whack it into your computer. But really, I think everyone's using these QR codes now and quick links. So the physical disc. I mean, on my laptop, I can't play discs anymore. So I love the idea of an interactive DVD that explains how to play, demystifies some of it, but I suspect it will be via a QR code. You scan it and hello, Ronald here, let's play Dungeon Sagas!
Also, you do get a lot of that stuff just popping up on YouTube anyway. For example, shameless plug for my wonderful How to Play Dreadball series.
There we are, get it on.
So good it was translated into French.
Oh, merveille. Well, we've got a French distributor who is just finishing translating Dreadball as we speak, and it'll be printed in the next few weeks, and we are going to have Dreadball released into France with a full range, full stock. We're really proud of this. Victoria Miniatures is bringing the word of Mantic to the French, so we're very excited about that. So excellent. So if you we'll plug your excellent series of How to Play Dreadball on our site, and I'm sure Kai and Chris will be on that immediately. And when we go au français, we'll be taking Chilling Wargamers. Oh God, that was frightening. We'll be taking that into the French as well, so you can have a whole French audience.
Lovely.
Another group of people who can insult you.
Now, as we get into the last couple of days of the Kickstarter, are there going to be some last-minute bundles that people could look out for, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, we always try and simplify it. I mean, all of us crazy spend every minute of every day pressing F5 and reading every comment and being into the details of it. Sensible and rational people kind of jump in on the first day, secure themselves an early bird or a $100 pledge, pop in a couple of times over the course of a month, see that it's cooking nicely, and then come back at the last weekend and say, right, now I've got $150 or $200 to spend, tell me what to buy. And we put up a kind of, look, if you're going to get $50 worth of extras, buy that. If you're going to get 100, get that. And that's simply because we know best and we know what you're going to enjoy most. And sometimes we say, well, look, if you're a painter, buy this, and if you're a hardcore gamer, go that way. But we try and minimise it into as easily navigatable system as possible, simply so that you can, with a couple of clicks, you can get the things that you're going to like most. So for sure, Thursday and Friday we'll just do a nice clean up, and we'll have an add-on section where you can go and walk through and pick which kind of jump-ins you want to get to. Fortunately, it's a fairly clean Kickstarter. There isn't infinite boosters and add-ons and factions and everything else, so it should be easy to navigate the most, but we for sure will even still clean it up a bit.
Now, obviously, this Kickstarter is doing well, but do you have in mind what particular kind of game is going to be the one that really explodes and takes over the world and just has all of you on luxury yachts at the end of it?
Yeah, that'd be a while.
Like whether it would be this kind of dungeon game, a skirmish game, a full-on war game. Do you have something in your mind, a vision of what's going to be the huge one at the end?
I don't know if there is. I mean, I think a couple of things. You see, the thing is, I think let's say we did $2 million. Let's say we did a $2 million Kickstarter, which is double dead zone. I mean, we spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. In this way, we overspent by $100,000 on Dead Zone, on tooling it, just tooling. So, if we have to work that hard to get to 1.2 million, I kind of shudder to think what we might have to do to get to 2 million. So the only thing that could change perhaps was back a number. So I suppose what we'd have to do is say something on the scale and awesomeness and freshness of Dead Zone, but kind of what made that excitement was it was so new. At the same time, almost drives away backers because they want to see it and touch it before they can back it. You know what I mean? So it's interesting that Zombicide 1 was the smallest. Zombicide 2, when they'd seen it, played it, and came back to it, was bigger than the first one. So I don't know. We'll have enough faith that we're going to do it, and it's exactly what they want. And at the same time can afford, I think the average pledge level on that one was over $300, $380. So, where people can feel that they're going to, because at that point you've got a whole gaming table's worth of scenery, 3, 4, 5, 6 factions worth of troops. We're going to keep plugging it. I think more likely we're just going to keep doing nice, good fun Kickstarters that fund in and around our space. I'm not driving the guys with selling more on Kickstarter. I think the key is that we make products that then come out to retail and people want to play and play and play. And I think one day we will get that right and we can join the likes of the X-Wings and the Zombicides out there with a product that combines toy soldiers, great fun, ease of play, and then introduces people into Mantic and they can go on from there. So I'm hoping there is a blockbuster out there, but I hope that it would come through the retailers as much as it would through the Kickstarter. And it might be Miles Attacks, for example, was a good Kickstarter. It was right in our zone, but at retail it's been already very successful. And I think as people play this game, their minds are going to be blown. I mean, and maybe next time Chris will come on and play a game with you, on a live stream, because it's just such fun. It's such fun, and the rules are nice and basic. So quickly you're throwing cards down that has robots throwing cars, cattle burning up as you're running across the battlefield, and there's all this, because the simplicity in the base game is there. It allows you to have fun, as opposed to kind of the most perfectly balanced. Yeah, it's still good. It's still balanced, but there's fun in this game, and I think that's one that's going to be hugely successful when it hits the retailer shelves. And there'll be some very smug, 2,500 very smug, very pleased people with themselves who help fund it and have got all the rewards that come with it. And I'm hoping the Dungeon Sagas will be the same. A year from now, some very smug people with their cool exclusives, but actually a runaway retail success.
Right, there have been a few more audience questions, and then we'll just run through them, and then we'll release you for your KFC. So,
Oof.
Rob Clark is asking whether there's a third expansion on the horizon.
Yeah, I think we will pad out the end of the $100 pledge, close that space out, have some real fun with that, and if it's still sometime early in the weekend or early Sunday, then yes, it will. If that giant undead worm is the denouement, is the finishing point, then probably no, you're probably at the expansion level. So I think it's going to rely on the backer number and what happens to the average pledge over the next 48 hours probably. So where are we Friday night, Saturday morning, and Sunday morning? So we've got one planned. It would be very cool, but similarly, I don't think it's going to be defining if it doesn't happen.
Any hint about what that might be if it comes along?
I think if Dave Simmons' question was anything to go by, I'd be sniffing around there if I were you.
Well, there you go, folks. You better get scrolling in a minute if you forgot what that was. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Jonathan Elkin wants to know, will there be a different set of dungeon furniture or just the one set that's already been announced?
I think there's one set so far. There's doors next. If it goes bananas at the weekend, that's where we probably look next. That could be one of those. if we go into the banana space, that's an obvious place that there isn't never enough furniture. But I mean, at this point, I'd be saying it's probably going to be one, and hopefully, if we can fund on a bit more, then the doors.
Anything that doesn't get reached in the Kickstarter, are they going to be things we should look out for in the future? Expansions, for example. Yeah,
and I think the second thing is, it's quite popular when you pop back. Kickstarter, Dreadball had a real great, second dip with the Extreme Kickstarter earlier in the year, which gave us Extreme plus seasons 4, 5, and 6. So the stuff that we are in the point now where we have not sat down and written out in detail and lots of sketches this stuff. We had some ideas in the last week or two. It's been, we've been thinking we might end up somewhere around here. So we have been drawing and having the design team work some ideas up. We've got a pretty good idea of where we're going to finish now, and we're taking those, let's say, 10 ideas. We've picked what we think are the best 6. We've taken the feedback on board, and now we're turning those 6 into drawings and getting some costings and understand, what it's going to cost to tool it and what it's going to cost to produce it, so that we can, either add it as an add-on or add it to the core pledge. So there isn't a whole drawer full of stuff that we've designed in detail and isn't going to get done. It's more that we keep putting a few things on, saying, oh, we've still got 4 days left, and 3 or 4 of the biggest days possibly left. And if that is the case, then we're going to have some fun things to do.
Right, I believe we've covered all the questions that aren't repeats of earlier questions. So, is there anything else either of you would like to add?
Oh, I mean, I'd just like to say thank you. Thanks again for backing us, having faith in us. That is a humbling amount of cash that people are trusting with us to go away and do. I'm very, very excited about what I think we're going to be able to create. And I think those people that do jump on and are brave enough to tackle the Kickstarter, I'm going to be very pleased when they get their box of toys, in the middle of next year. So thank you once again from me to everybody who supported us and backed us, and even if they've come in at $1 and maybe jump in later, or just told other people about it. All of that really, really does help, and it makes a massive difference to what we're able to make. So thank you.
Anything from you, Mr. Chris, over there?
No, just everybody who was listening earlier about what I was talking about, Pathfinders, events, and your local clubs, etc. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm really looking forward to speaking to you and finding out what you have to say.
So, I'm going to thank both of you for coming on, because we did actually break records here. We had our highest ever number of live viewers on an episode. It did hit 85 a minute ago.
Yay!
That's 7 higher than we reached.
Record balls. Superb. Well done.
7 more than we had on the Jake episode. So you've got that over.
Yep. Yeah, well, exactly. Well, he's right to know. Well, thank you very much, and thanks for having me back after my abysmal technology performance last time. So,
and halfway through this one, let's not forget, Chris did fill in admirably for you.
Yeah, he did very well. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for covering me. Covering my arms as usual.
Problem.
Well,
Not
no,
a problem at all.
Moving swiftly on. Goodbye. Thank you very much for that bombshell.
Enjoy your KFC.
Yes. You enjoy KFC. Everybody subscribe.
Chris, the last time I went to this KFC, I think I was handing you your.
Oh no! Don't bring that up.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay, then fine. I won't mention that.
What,
I'll be off
we're not
now.
going to get some secrets.
I'll leave you to talk about that.
Oh.
Cheers, everybody. Bye bye.
Yes, bye.
Bye. Okay, now that he's gone, are we going to get that story out of you?
This was something earlier on in the year called War of the Beard. We had a little competition between us. His normal dwarfs versus my abyssal dwarfs, and there was a little bit of hype.
Thrashed.
And thrashed would be putting it diplomatically. Yeah, I got it handed to me, and as a result of that, I had to shave off my beard. It was not good. It was not good. It wasn't a good look either. Been with my partner now for about 14 years, and she's never seen me without the suit catcher. And well, there were some concerns about me being single. Yeah, no, I got absolute pasting.
Well, the good thing about facial hair, it grows back.
Indeed it does. Indeed it does.
I will say, though, no one is ever taking this little beauty away from me. Look at that.
I'm sure a strong wind would take that away.
No, it's a work of art.
So yeah, so after this Kickstarter campaign, we'll get in touch with you, Andy, and we'll see about doing something with Mars Attacks video if that's something people want to see. If you want us to get together some of the alpha rules that we have for the Dungeon Crawler for Dungeon Saga, see what we can do with those as well. Just let us know what you want, comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter.
Yes, speaking of subscribing, everyone, I presume we've got some new viewers. Everyone should subscribe to this channel because there's going to be a lot more episodes coming up in the next few weeks. We're going to be back to our regular season very soon, as I mentioned at the beginning. Got some, not quite as A-list as today, but we have got some good guests lined up very soon. So keep your eyes peeled, and thanks again. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Keep on chilling. I like that. That's going to be the new... I'm going to sign off on that every time. Let me know if I should do that. Goodbye.